Welcome, welcome! It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today is Ships of the UEE Navy Part 5. And we're going to start this off with ships that are not in the game. Actually, that's this whole video. These ships are not flyable in the game yet. Hopefully before the end of the year we will see most of them, if not all of them, be able to walk around, experience them. And I will bring ship rundown videos of each and every one of them when the time comes. So let's start off with the Hercules. This ship is made by Crusader Industries and it comes in 3 variants. It comes in the C2, which is the civilian version, the M2, which is a military version, and the A2, which is also a military version. And we're going to talk about the M2 and the A2. Both of these ships are really interesting to me, actually. So the M2 is a transport. It's kind of like a military transport. You can carry around tanks, ballista, that sort of thing. Really cool ship. It comes with a decent amount of weaponry, but nothing like its big brother, the A2. The A2 Hercules comes bristling with guns, like a lot of them. So the normal M2 comes with 3 remote turrets that are all size 3, with all of them have 2 size 3 guns on them each. So that's 6 size 3 guns right there. Then you also have 2 front-facing size 4 fixed ballistic cannons. So I imagine you could probably change those out for size 3 gimbals. So you're going to end up with 8 guns. Not too bad. The A2 Hercules also adds 2 remote side turrets with size 4 ballistic Gatlins in them. And then it also comes with 2 size 5 remote ballistic cannons. On top of that, 4 size 10 bombs. It's nasty. It's going to come in and obliterate the world. You're definitely going to want to have that thing patrolling airspace for your ground troops, as long as they're not trying to make like a covert insertion. The A2 is going to be pivotal for any kind of ground-based operations or taking down bunkers. You might be able to use it to, instead of just doing the evict outlaws, you could just completely obliterate that bunker with those size 10 bombs. So it's going to be really nasty against ground installations and ground troops. It's also going to hold its own against fighters coming in. It's got a bunch of size 3s, some size 5s. Yeah, it's going to be able to handle its own against some fighters. I mean, you're probably not going to use it to fight, but it's rather nice gunship. It's going to be pretty devastating against any kind of ground forces you may come across. I really like this ship. I like all these ships, even the civilian version, because of how much it can carry and tote around. It's going to be very pivotal for any organization that needs to move ground-based vehicles from one place to another. So you might want to look for this thing when it comes on sale next. I don't think it's going to come on sale until the next anniversary. So keep an eye out for it. And that leads us into the next sized ship, which will be the Nautilus. Now, where the M2 and the A2 are about 94 meters long, the Nautilus is 125. It's about the size of a Carrack. Now, I know the number one question people are going to ask is, should I get this or the Carrack? Well, the Carrack is an exploration ship. This is a mine layer. If you pit them head to head and in combat, I don't really know which one's going to come out on top. Because the Carrack has a bunch of size 4 turrets. This thing has a size 7 gun on the front. You heard me right, a size 7 gun or turret on the front. So it's going to be able to dish out some damage to somebody that gets in front of it. Yeah, it could be pretty nasty. It actually could do some damage to a capital ship. And then it's got some size 3s on the side and on the belly. The belly is going to be actually a missile turret. So it can do some damage. But that's not what its real role is. And I wouldn't take it into combat unless you absolutely had to. But this thing's real role is to lay mines. And it's going to be able to lay a couple of different kinds of mines. And I know they're going to probably put more mines in the game eventually. But the first two mines that they talked about are the homing mine, which whenever a ship gets within range of this mine, the mine's going to chase it down and detonate. It could do some massive damage. I expect smaller ships to be taken out completely. Medium-sized ships, probably too. Large ships, it should do a little bit of damage too, if not devastating damage, and maybe even do some damage to capital ships. The sentry mine is going to be a mine that has guns on it, and whenever you get close to this mine, it's going to open fire. And close could be, you know, anywhere between 5 and 10 kilometers. So it's going to have some range to where it'll start opening up on enemy ships that get near it. And you're going to be able to carry a number of these mines. And if you come across enemy mines, you'll be able to use your drones to go out and pick up those mines. You'll be able to disable them, pick them up, and bring them into your ship, and then be able to redeploy them somewhere else. So the drones will be able to set up your mines, take out enemy mines. It's going to be a very effective ship to have, especially if you want to cordon off certain sections. So you got an outpost on a planet, you can use this Nautilus to set up a minefield in orbit to make sure that you can dissuade anybody from getting into your airspace. Pretty cool, right? Then you'll also be able to use it to take out anybody's mines that are in orbit around their installations, so that you will have a clear flight path to attack. So I see this being utilized especially in bigger orgs. Smaller orgs probably not so much. You might be able to use this as some sort of a command and control ship, but again, it's not capital classed. It's just under the capital class size. It doesn't have any capital components. So again, it's just considered kind of like a large ship. It's a mine layer. It's almost Corvette sized, almost, but not quite there. Cool ship, but again, it's kind of a niche ship for you guys. Maybe not everybody picked that one up. Now this one, this is the Polaris. This is the first capital size ship that we have. It is a Corvette, and it's not really a gunboat per se. I mean, you kind of have the Hammerhead that is the gunship. It's quite a bit smaller than this one. This one's 155 meters long, 82 wide, 35 tall. So this ship is more of a torpedo boat. And when I say torpedo boat, it's going to carry a nasty amount of torpedoes. You're going to have, I think it says something like 7 racks, 7 per rack, 4 racks of size 10 torpedoes, and 7 in each rack. So you're looking at 28 size 10 torpedoes. Really, really nasty. Not going to be fun for anybody to go up against, especially capital ships. It's got a capital class power plant. Everything else is large or medium on this ship. It's going to be pretty awesome. I don't know what else to say about it other than it's going to be the bane of all capital ships. They're not going to want to go against it. They're not going to want to ever see it. This ship is going to get in, get out, and call it a day. At least that's the way I see it. I don't know how fast it's going to be, but I expect it to be pretty fast because it's going to work along the front line and do its damage and then get back behind the bigger ships, which we're about to talk about. Tell me what you think about the Polaris. I love it. Oh, it also has a hangar, so you're going to be able to carry a small fighter in it. So the fighter can actually be deployed to run a little bit of picket for this thing, while this thing runs picket for the big ships. But yeah, you'll be able to deploy a small fighter from the hangar. I'm not really sure I really care for that aspect of it. It's kind of cool, but I don't think it needed it. I like the torpedoes in it. I wish it would maybe would have given it one big gun, or some more anti-aircraft type guns. But yeah, it's going to be a torpedo boat. So that leads us to the Idris. As you can see here, when the Idris first came out, it was a Corvette. It was listed as 140 meters. That's, you know, smaller than what the Polaris is. Well, you know, things change with CIG. I mean, the more work they put into the game, the bigger some of their ships grew. This ship is no longer 140 meters. It actually has two variants. It has the P and the M. The P is a little bit smaller, and there's a reason for that, and that is because what the armament the M has. The P comes in at 233 meters long, 126 wide, and 46 tall. So you can see how it has grown quite a bit over the 140 meters that the ship started out as. The Idris-M is 242 meters long, so it's quite a bit longer. It also has a bigger displacement because of that big gun. Let me talk about the differences between these two ships. The Idris-M is the more heavily armored version. The Idris-P is a peacekeeper version, so they took some of the armor off to give it more speed. The Idris-M comes with a size 10 mass driver on the front. It will do devastating damage to any ship it hits, capital or otherwise. It's going to mess them up. It's awesome. It also has to have another power plant to run that one gun. So the P doesn't come with that extra power plant. So what does the P have that the M doesn't? Well, the P is going to be more geared towards anti-aircraft, so smaller ships than, say, the M. The M is going to be geared towards capital ships, fighting those. It'll come with some bigger guns, not including the size 10. It does have the size 10, but it's going to have some like size 7s that can also damage capital ships. Both of them have a hangar. What can you put in the hangar? Well, you're going to be able to service up to 3 fighters or bombers in that hangar. We're talking like medium-sized ships like Hornets, Gladiators, those types of things. It will service 3, but I'm going to carry 6. Why would I carry 6 when it only services 3? Well, if you have 3 Super Hornets, which I don't have 3 Super Hornets, but I'm going to have friends that do, those ships have jump drives. So you'll be able to jump while you have 3 ships internally in the hangar. You'll still have 3 outside to patrol, and you can have a round-the-clock 3-ship patrol that will be able to patrol everything around you. I think I like that idea. You tell me what you think of the idea. I think it works. You'll always have 3 in space. When you do jumps, you'll have the Super Hornets do the jumps, and then you'll have your other 3 that can come out, and then you can service the Super Hornets. So I think it would be best to carry 6 ships along with this ship. That's just my personal opinion. You guys let me know what you think. The Idris-P. So, they also came out with an upgrade kit for your Idris-P, because when the Kraken came out, they decided they're going to have something that can compete with the Kraken. So CIG decided to make an upgrade kit available for the Idris-P. They're calling it the Idris-K. The K will add more guns, bigger guns, and a size 10 beam weapon. That's right, a beam weapon. It'll be the first one technically in the game. I mean, the mining laser is kind of a beam weapon to me, but the K will have a big version of a beam weapon. Size 10, it's going to devastate anything and everything you hit with it. They also said that you'll be able to upgrade the P to an M eventually in the game. These ships are very rare. You can only get them during anniversary sales in November. They're running $1,500 war bond, $1,700, I believe. Actually, there may be more than that now, but I think they were $1,700 on store credit. They expect them to go up. Okay, expect those prices to go up. They're very pricey, and they're pretty badass. That's my take on it. Awesome ships. You're going to need a crew to run them. You're going to need a crew to run the ships in the hangar. A lot of orgs, this will be their flagship if you get your hands on one. That leads us to the Big Daddy, the Javelin Destroyer. And when I say big, this thing was big when it first got sold. It was like 300 meters, a little over 300 meters when it first was advertised. This thing is super rare, and it's grown since the first cell. The little story, in-lore story behind the cells of it is that the military was releasing a surplus amount of javelins that have seen some hard battle, and you're going to be able to get them, and they're going to have module rooms that you can trade out for different things, you know, med bays, science labs, etc. Haven't heard anything else about the module rooms, but this thing's grown up to be 480 meters long. Yeah, like almost half a kilometer. It's big. It's almost 200 meters wide. Again, big. Like really freaking big. 72 meters tall. So it's super tall too. It's just massive. Massive. It advertises a minimum of 12 crew and a maximum of 80. I'm thinking you're going to get more than that on there. It's got capital class everything except for the computers. Those are medium sized, and there's 8 of those. It's going to have a lot of guns, a lot of big guns. You're going to be able to take on capital ships with the guns, on some of them, and it's going to have 2 size 12 torpedo launchers. Let me repeat that. 2 size 12 torpedo launchers. Biggest ones we have in the game right now that we know of, that we can see in game, are the Retaliator and the Eclipse size 9 torpedoes, and those one-shot just about everything other than maybe an 890 jump. The Polaris is going to have size 10s. This thing's going to have size 12s. How much damage do you think a size 12 torpedo is going to do? I mean, we're going to see it. I would say a size 12 should take down a Polaris no problem, and maybe even an Idris. It's going to be devastating. That's all I can think of. It's just devastating. It's also going to have a hangar, because, you know, CIG's got to have a hangar and everything, right? That should be able to accommodate at least a Vanguard hoplite. When it was first sold, it was only going to be able to have a smaller fighter, but they moved it up to be able to hold a Redeemer gunship, or dropship back then. So they've changed that to at least a Vanguard hoplite. I really hope that it supports a Redeemer when it's all said and done, because that's kind of what the Redeemer was pitched as, you know, being able to fit in a Javelin and launch from a Javelin. It would be really cool if they still kept that in. Hopefully they do. We don't know exactly how many guns this thing's going to have, where they're going to be, what size they're going to be, but we do know that they're going to be able to engage capital ships on a lot of them, and anti-air, so, you know, fighters, bombers, that sort of thing as well. This thing's going to be so big, it's going to be ponderous and slow. You're definitely going to want an escort. I would advise Idris's and Polaris's, at the least. I mean, this is going to be your Battlestar Galactica of your fleet. It is the largest player ownable ship. You're not going to be able to buy a ship bigger than this, according to CIG. You know, that all changes every once in a while, but that's what they've said. Now, you could be able to get a Bengal carrier in game if you find one that's a Hulk, a floating piece of junk that needs to be restored back to its former glory. That ship is going to be persistent. In other words, if your org finds that, you're going to have to be able to keep a watch on it 24 hours a day. You're going to need people all over the world in your org, or people that can be on at all times of the day to take care of that thing. Kind of like Eve, where you have, you know, you may have to get on at 2 in the morning to do a battle because somebody's jumping you. That's what the bingo carrier is going to be like. Javelin, not so much. When you log off, you can log off with that ship. That ship's going to disappear. And then you'll log back in and your ship will reappear. Awesome. For a ship that size to be player ownable. They only come out in lots of 50 during the anniversary sale. So you're going to have to be lucky to get one. You're going to have to be quick, because they go quick. I think they sell for 2,700 war bond and 3,000 for store credit. So they're also expensive. So in order to get your hands on it, you're going to have money, and you're going to have to be quick. There's very few in the game. The only thing that might have less numbers in the game is going to be the Vandal Scythe. So guys, I hope you like this video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. As you can see, the Bengal carrier here, just a little bit of footage to kind of wet your mouth, get you a little taste of it. It's going to be almost, I think, 1.5 kilometers long, or at least 1 kilometer long anyways. It's going to have a massive hangar in it. You'll be able to store whole squadrons in that ship. It's a floating city. Again, hit that like button if you like this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell icon to let you know when I do more of these videos. Also guys, if you watch the ads and click on them, it helps this channel's revenue out. I really would appreciate it, especially with the COVID-19 stuff going on. I may not get a lot of work in, so I totally appreciate it, and I hate pandering to you guys. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you guys out in the verse.